What is up, YouTube? Rockleeac here, doing a tournament report, I guess you could say, for our Midwest Naruto Cash Prize tournament. Unfortunately, there was not a big enough turnout, or big turnout that we thought there would be. There was only 9 of us at the tournament, although there was severe weather conditions throughout Midwest and the East Coast, which prevented several players from coming down here. I received messages via Facebook through multiple players who were about to go, and then they received warning about the snowstorms and everything, and the winds and the chills throughout the weekend. So sucks that had to happen, and there are times when you can't control the weather, and that plays a big factor, especially in the Midwest East Coast area, where we get hit with a lot of like the freezing temperatures and snow and all that stuff. So regardless, we had a very fun tournament. Even though there was 9 of us, Tony Denning and Team Ohio drove 5 hours away, so they fully committed to this event too, so there should be no excuses if the weather did prevent a lot of them from coming. But other than that, it was a fun event. It was a good mixture of decks, I guess I would say. There's a couple water lightning, fire lightning, earth, tailed beast decks, earth, wind, and fire, just a whole bunch of different styles, which is nice to see in the game, where you could pretty much put in more variety. I ran earth hand control deck, I guess you would say. It was kind of a last minute deck because I do like the hand discard theme, and I kind of just saw if I could put something together. I ended up getting second. I lost to what was his name? I'm trying to remember. From team, what was it? I think it was Nathaniel. Whatever. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, Nathaniel from Team Ohio. He ran Water Lightning, which is same deck Tony ran at the SJC Michigan, I think 2011, where he ran it and won the SJC tournament, I think. Very good deck to go against. Very hard to go because it's full of rush and whatever. But it's 4 rounds Swiss. I went 2-1-1. I paired up against Tony in top 4. I beat him game 3. It was a crazy match. I don't even remember a lot of the highlights. I only recorded I think the match where we played in Swiss, where I beat him in the first round, but he got me in the other rounds. I beat him, knocked him off for the top, and then I went ahead to go against Nathaniel, and it was probably the worst matchup I had, simply because first round started off okay, but I had no missions until actually throughout the whole game. Went to like turn 5, I believe, and he was able to get out Naruto Tail Beast form, the turn 5 one or whatever, and just I'll show you the video, but he monster research into 3 lariats and a Sasuke, so I was already being rushed anyways with no missions and no way to build up chakra for Jitsu, so that was a bad game. And then the game 2 was worse, where I had an okay hand turn 0, but it wasn't enough to push, so I got a little bit greedy and kind of mold to 4 Shoutout hint, and I only ninja I had was a turn 1 Tamari, so he swung out with Sasuke. Of course, I had Tamari, and then of course it's really hard to go back from Tamari, so he rushed again from that, and then I just did not have enough firepower to go against, and he just kept using Rasen Shuriken thingy from TP3, which made my ninjas into battle words or whatever. So yeah, it wasn't the best finals game I've ever had, but there are times when you just draw horribly, like that first game where I had no missions and just hitting the curves. So it would have been a much more interesting deck if I was able to curve right and hit those missions. But anyways, I just wanted to show you guys a preview of what I was running for the tournament. Again, this is pretty much mostly mono earth. I just like the discard theme. There's a couple things I would have changed, but whatever. Let's get started with turn zeros. I ran 3 Shikamaru Outwit, one of the best 0-drops in the game. Target for Shika's decision, and he could swing out, especially with against Rush. 2 solos because he's pretty much in every deck. He's a 5-0 ninja. No need to really explain too much in detail. I ran 2 Neji because I do run Byakugan Jutsus, and I need to be able to use those early if I want to do my own rush. Helped out a lot. I was able to turn off a lot of activated effects, whether it be Naruto, Obito, Sakura, whatever. He was just good to have or whatever. 2 Tenten, mainly just for draw purposes. She's a good solid 3-0 ninja, 2 mental power, and draw effect. And then last 2 0-drops, I played 2 Chojis, because in case somebody's gonna rush with me, I can kind of match him up. He gets battle words, and get coins and all that stuff. 1-drops, I ran 2 Tamari because getting rid of your opponent's jutsus is really important, and it's also a part of the hand control theme of the deck, and just being able to drop her early or even search her out later in the game is critical. I ran 1 Yoshino. She actually helped me out a lot. There are a lot of rush decks that I played against, and it helped me kind of push over some of the games because my opponent wasn't able to really respond without having to use jutsus. So she was quite helpful in multiple games. Kitamaro State 1. State 2 is just so good. I won a game 3, I think, or game 2 because of State 2, and everybody knows what he does. He's just way too good. Turn 2. I ran 2 Shinos. I like this because it goes again with the theme of the deck, which is hand control. He's basically like a very, very early turn 6 Pain Never Path, but they do get to draw into cards, but at least you're able to take up options from your opponent's hands, which is really, really important. And take out Jitsu, so you can win during the EOJ, whatever. I ran 1 Suigetsu. It helped out a lot, actually. I didn't think it would do that much in the main deck, but it did turn off several people's effects, like Obito's, and I was able to negate Tony Denning's Hinata from Sage's Legacy, which was a nuisance because he could just chain into her effect and negate all my Jitsu, so I needed a way to stop that. And I also run Human Path, so Sogetsu plus Human Path is probably the best combo for hand control, or one of the best combos. I was able to get that in my in game 2 of me vs Tony, but yeah, Sogetsu is good overall. 3-drops. I ran 3 different Hinatas. Now that I think of it, I'd probably run 2 of that in one of those. This basically goes with the hand control theme, though. If I were to have, I run the hand control Hyuga clan, so except for Hanabi, so I run the Hinata, Neji, and the dads and stuff. So Hinata basically says during your mission phase, your opponents could I negate one of my opponent's text effects unless they discard a card, and their maximum hand size reduced to 1. It was okay. I mean, there are some matches where my opponent didn't have as many draw powers, so I mean their hand was limited anyways. I'd probably run her so I could growth and then discard a random card, but they were both helpful. I could search out for another one and growth the other. And I ran 3 because to maximize my users for Byakugan. 4s, I kind of ran different kinds of 4-drops. Neji, essential for the deck because he's a pretty good static ninja, 6'3", 3-0. During the EOJ, I could injure opponent unless they discard a card, which is annoying for a lot of people, and then their hand cost is reduced by 1. He has growth, so I could growth over the turn 0, and he is a Byakugan user, so he's really good for those purposes. Asuma, he was helpful to bounce off things like Tsukato, Karen, Hanare, just random people. Didn't face a Narakapath today, but he's just a good squads in the Sheikah Asuma. And then again, Pain, Human Path, he's another element for hand control. I was surprised I was able to use Sogetsu and Human Path's effect, remove him from the game, chain into Sogetsu's effect, so those are pretty much removed from game. Very good card to have. It's a good card overall. It's pretty well versed. 5/4 ninja and 3 mental power. Put him with the Shika Yoshino. It's pretty good. 5 drops. I ran the dad and Deidara. Basically Hayashi. At the start of your opponent's turn, if they don't have no battle words, I win 1 battle word, or they have no cards in their hand, I win 1 battle word. Didn't really use that at all. And my opponent's maximum hand size reduced down to 1. Again, he's just another Byakugan ninja, which I needed in the deck. He's a 7/0 ninja, 5/0, great for combat, and he also has mastery. So I was able to use mastery once, but just him being able to have that opportunity to use mastery, hydro pump that, on turn 5, it's a pretty safe choice for this kind of deck. And then I also ran 1 Deidara Fire Wrath because it is a control deck. I do a lot of focus on negations and kind of controlling my opponent's jutsu. So during the EOJ, our opponents can only play one jutsu. Turn 6s, I ran 3 and I couldn't make up my mind on which ones to cut because I like all 3 of these. Second Tsuchikage is great because it was able to help me swing for a couple of battle words. Usually most decks don't play like a lot of high drops, like 6 drops. Mostly people play majority of all like 5 drops max. Probably like one or 2 6 drops, whatever. So second Tsuchikage is great because if they don't have a 6 drop or higher to block with, he swings over 2 battle words. Very good card to have. Pain Devil Path, of course, he's hand control. He actually helped out tremendously in a lot of my games. A lot of my opponents were down to only a few cards, and I was able to control them enough for them to get rid of their cards every single time. You'll see in one of the uploads against Tony, I was just discarding his hand and then just very, very limiting his options. And then Kazekage also for obvious reasons and negation. Him and Deidara is just too good. I think I mentioned Fire Wrath. That's not Fire Wrath. That's not the right one. Anyways, it's 3 in the morning. I don't care what I'm saying right now. Missions. 3 Never Ending Love. One of the best missions in the game. Hands down. Turn 1. Earth Wind. Multiple decks could use it. It's just way too good. 3 Hyuga Training. This is an interesting card, but I chose it because it fits well with the theme. And basically, it's a permanent 3. Turn 1, you target one of your ninjas, and that target gets Taijutsu and Byakugan. And then if the target wins any battle words, your opponent discards a card from their hand. So sometimes I would name like Sasuke solo, he'll have Byakugan, and he'll be able to have access to my Byakugan jutsus. So it kind of forces your opponent to block Sasuke, kind of like a wager in a way, or not really, but just having your opponent know that there are repercussions to give battle words or whatever like that. So being able to swing out with multiple Byakugan users is good. So aside from my Hinata, Neji, and Hayashi, I'll be able to also target my ninja, and they'll be able to get Byakugan for that. And it helped actually a couple times, and not as consistent. I probably might have cut one of those for another mission or jutsu, but that's probably the only thing, or one of the few things. 3 Shika's Decision, obviously I run 3 Shika, helps me search for whatever I need. And then last 2 missions, the only thing I messed up on is that I couldn't find my training in the Moonlight, which is probably the main mission for this deck, which would probably help me a lot if I were able to draw into it. I needed a little bit more draw power in case I'm not able to hit certain cards, so Student Sensei was just another safe choice. It's a turn 1, draw 2. Can't go wrong too much with that. I run Choji anyway, so Choji get pumped up for this. And then Dehydration, of course, was just another good card to have. I noticed a lot of the decks, they were able to draw multiple cards through effects, so Dehy kind of negated it, and it's just a great card overall to have. Dehydration, a lot of put-and-play effects, Tamari's, KNS, or whatever you have to, so I think those are okay, safe choices. Jitsus, oops, 3 Byakugan, basically target 1 Jitsu, negate the target, and then your opponent has to discard all copies and all copies of the Jitsu to their deck. So pretty much I've done it maybe twice or 3 times where I negate Jitsus. They had to go through their whole deck and pretty much put those all those cards that they had. I mainly wanted to use it against stuff like Mind Transfer and Dragon Flames, and unfortunately I used it on like weird Jitsus like Backstab and things that aren't really game changing, so or important at that moment. Next, I ran 3 Xtremegames 64 Palms. This was from the newest set. It's a good card. It's a very solid card. Requirements again are Byakugan. You target every ninja opposing the user. Flip a coin until you flip tails. Then you distribute X amount of damage, where X equals the number of heads you flipped, plus 1. So regardless, you're going to get a damage, but if you land 1 head, you at least could distribute 2 damages. It wasn't really, I wasn't really lucky with this card. I've only maximum flipped 1 head for 2 damage, so didn't really help as much as I thought I would. I thought I'd get a little bit more lucky with the flips, but didn't really work as much. But it's a good solid card if it works. Of course, I didn't have any luck. Next, I main deck 2 Detonating Kunai, mainly for the hand control aspect. You can pay 1 or 2 generic. The target gets +2 combat or +3 mental power. And if the higher cost of the Jitsu is paid, your opponent randomly discards. Again, this is just for pressure for the hand theme deck. It helps out a lot, especially if you use it with Shikawit. That extra +3 mental power is huge, especially if he's battling by itself. You could OV teams. I've OV'd Sasuke solo on turn 1. It's just a very good card to have for this deck. And otherwise, you'd main deck it for like mental. Next, I ran Gentle Fist Style, whatever Jitsu, Xtremegames Palms from set 20. Requirements: Byakugan +3 or more. Target 1 ninja battling, the user becomes a standby. And then while it's on the chain, your opponent cannot play any cards or activate effects. Pretty much prevents anybody from playing anything. And then if Neji uses it, I could give a damage to a target. So never really used the expert effect, but it did push for standby ninjas with another effect. And last Jitsu is 1 Hydro Pump. Hydro Pump is really good. It wins games. Let's go to side deck. 2 Hinas, for obvious reasons. Counters. 2 self conversations. Side this in against like Rush, like Fire Lightning. People play like Warhawks. Nobody really played any game-winning missions like NVS. So I ran 1 Will of the Youth because I knew my teammate Charlie runs a lot of remove from play. So this pretty much is really good to counter that. Things like Tetragram, Hydro Pump, Particle Style. Those are like the main Jitsus that are pretty much from there. I ran 1 Clear Sky in case I ran against Revitalize, or if I ran against Mill, or just a deck that generates tons of Chakra. I sided this in only once against the main deck, but in the finals, again, game 2, I sided this in on game 2 and then just got rushed really badly, so I wasn't able to use it. But it's just an overall good card. I could pay 2 Earth with that, no problem. 1 Karen in case people wants to, I guess, rush and random stuff. Eno against Shimon Says and Void or whatever. Didn't see Shimon play because I guess I banned the Idle Comrades combo of that deck mainly, but it fits my theme in a way. It's Earth, so Earth 2 mental power, pretty good support power, and each player cannot put in play more than 1 ninja per turn. I don't really reinforce that much, and the effect text of your opponent's head ninjas are negated. That puts a lot of pressure on people. And then I ran 1 Obito and 1 Koharu, mainly to go against like Rush, which is one of the main weaknesses of this deck, is just rushing early. So Obito is good against Mind Transfers and Dragon Flames, whatever. Koharu I sided in every single game when I went against Rush. So yeah, let me just real quick, extra deck, whatever. Choji Shika. This card helped a lot, especially when it was blocking, it gets coins. Shika Asuma never went. Keto State 2 is just too damn good. Danzo, Sasuke, Nidara, whatever. I probably left out a lot of other ones, but I don't remember what I put. So yeah, that's my quick tournament update. Again, it was sad to see that the weather prevented a lot of people from coming down here, but it's understandable because these are like record breaking. I know we're supposed to get like negative 20 degrees this weekend or whatever like that, so that's pretty nuts. And it was already snowing before we started the tournament, and I knew already people had power outages in the East Coast and snowstorms and whatever. So hopefully the next time we host the tournament, the weather will be cleared up. I know there are a lot of people who messaged me and wanted to see if we're going to do other ones in the future. And I said possibly our Majin at our store loved hosting it, and he said, whenever we're down to do that, even whenever we decide to, we could still host the tournament. So hopefully we'll look out for that. Maybe we'll extend the format to Shippuden format or whatever, or unlimited, and we'll see how everything goes. But yeah, I just want to shout out to Team Ohio for driving 5 hours here despite the weather. They made it down here, so good job to you guys. It was a lot of fun playing with you guys again, or some for the first time. And shout outs to everybody supporting the page, all the people who are supporting Naruto even though it's been dead for so long. It's just really the passionate people that are keeping it up, so keep doing what you guys are doing. And it's a community thing, so that's why I like hosting these things. That's why I don't mind posting these things up here, because I don't think you guys mind seeing Naruto content, since it's very rare nowadays, especially deck profiles and matches and reports now. So till then, YouTube, Naruto, I will probably upload our matches real soon. Rate, comment, subscribe. I don't post too much Naruto stuff. I'm usually randomly dancing here and there, so please like my videos, and stay tuned for future uploads and future tournament updates. Alright, see you guys, YouTube. Peace.